everyone, it's Chris from Guilty Words, where we unravel crime one word at a time. Tonight we are talking about Stephan Sterns, the Florida man charged with capital murder in the death of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. Sterns lived with Madeline and her mother, Jen Soto. In addition, he is facing 60 counts of horrible acts involving children that we can't talk about on YouTube, and frankly, I don't even like to think about. Our focus is a recently released email from Deb Sterns, Stephan's mother, to her son in jail. I don't know if at the time of the writing the additional 60 charges had been added or not. It does make a difference because if they had, it takes this email from toxic to absolutely sick. But we'll talk about that as we go through it. Let's take a look at it together. The email is short, it's only 300 words, so we're going to read it in its entirety and talk about it as a whole. But as we talk about it, there are 4 areas that I'm going to be emphasizing. The first is audience and purpose. You would think, being an email to Stephan, that the audience is Stephan, but that's not the whole picture. Deb is writing to Stephan, but she's also writing to his attorneys, the police, and maybe even us. The structure is a masterfully manipulative sandwich, and the tone is a classic mom knows best, with a lot of manipulation and coercion thrown in. There are unintended revelations. I believe Deb Sterns thought this email would help her son, but she didn't do him any favors. Let's begin by reading the email together. You don't see the commissary and cannot order anything? I hope that gets resolved quickly. Do you remember your balance? Jail and prison are not meant to be comfortable. All part of the mental punishment, I guess. Stay positive. Talk with your attorneys. I keep thinking about how you would never rat out a friend. It really made me mad, and I felt like you valued them over us when you let them get away with stuff. Don't be doing that again. We all know Jen was heavily involved in this, and I am disgusted that she is free and you are not, when this is not all your fault. You need to think about yourself more and her less. She sure isn't thinking of you and everything she can do to help you right now. That whole family is willing to stay quiet and let you take the fall for everything. When you do that, you are hurting us too. Please get out of your head over this and start talking with your attorneys. This stuff is serious and you need to approach it as life and death, which it is. I think of the craziness Madeline lived through with Jen's various partners. Not a stable life at all for a child. I do pray for Madeline and for you daily. I am thrilled that you are working out again and have a physical outlet for the stress. I hope you can get your coffee and candy straightened out quickly. So far, I haven't seen a cancellation on Congo. Let us know as stuff filters down to you through the system. This origami book is just paperback. No paper, just patterns if I read it right. Well, I am off to feed the curly ones now. Love, hugs, and prayers now and every day and night. Mom. Now, I know there's a lot of words on the screen. I apologize, I know. But what I want you to take a look at isn't the words, but the highlighting. The 2 areas in yellow form what in literature is called a frame. It's a device a writer will use because it often makes a story feel more complete. Sometimes they'll begin with one scene and then they'll come back to that scene at the end. Begin with an opening quote and they end with the same quote. Deb Sterns isn't looking for a literary device here. She is using a frame, but it's more along the lines of a spoonful of sugar, cough syrup, and a spoonful of sugar. Let's take a look. I think it would be easier to just use the word sandwich. So in her sandwich, the 2 parts in yellow are the bread. You don't see the commissary and cannot order anything? Oh, I hope that gets resolved quickly. And then she goes on when she ends it with, oh, I'm thrilled you're working out again and have a physical outlet. I hope you get your coffee and candy straightened out. The tone in the frame is a sickeningly sweet, overly concerned mother. It has this, oh, I'm on your side. I'm your mom. I love you. Oh, I want everything to be smooth and happy for you. There's a definite disconnect between that tone and the fact she's writing to her son who's in jail for capital murder of a 13-year-old girl. However, part of her reason for this is because what comes in the middle, she isn't so sure her son is going to want to hear, although she does want some people to hear it. So let's look at the meat of the sandwich. I keep thinking about how you would never rat out a friend. It really made me mad, and I felt like you valued them over us when you let them get away with stuff. Don't be doing that again. I mentioned that I don't think Stephan was the only audience for this. This is part of the reason why. Why does she need to tell Stephan this? She keeps thinking about how he would never rat out a friend. Well, if that's how Stephan is, Stephan already knows that. He's a grown man. And if you go by this statement, it seems like this is a regular thing for him to do, to stand up and take the blame while other people went off scot-free. She gives no specifics of a time. It's definitely vague. Why aren't there any specifics? Maybe she wants the focus to be on the fact that he would never rat out a friend, because she wants the police and the district attorney and his lawyers to know, if he's not telling you what I'm about to tell you, it's because he's so noble. But listen to me. But in addition, she does this mom manipulation here. It really made me mad, and I felt like you valued them over us. Us, I think you could just say me, Mom, when you let them get away with stuff. Because we suffered, because we watched you suffer. Don't be doing that again. Or it could be, don't be doing that again, with a shaking mother finger. Either way, it's both a manipulation of his emotions and a signal to other people who might be reading this email. We all know Jen was heavily involved in this, and I'm disgusted that she is free and you are not, when this is not all your fault. You need to think about yourself more and her less. She sure isn't thinking of you and how she can help you right now. That whole family is willing to stay quiet and let you take the fall for everything. When you do that, you are hurting us too. Again, oh look, people who are reading this, my son is being noble. He's thinking about his girlfriend. He's protecting her. And her whole family is terrible. They're not going to tell you anything, police. They're going to stay quiet and let my poor son take the fall. This is part of the reason I think this email was sent before the additional charges were brought in. Because if she's saying, we all know that Jen was involved in this, and this includes 60 counts of stuff, then if you knew there was something unsafe for Madeline going on in that house and you said nothing, that is warped. We all know Jen was heavily involved in this. First of all, who's we? Again, I think she means I know, but saying we makes it sound like everybody in the world. If you don't know this, you're stupid. So, by the way, prosecution and defense attorneys, we all know it, don't you? Then Mom makes a really bad mistake. And I don't think it's just poor writing. I think she meant it, even unconsciously, the way she said it. I am disgusted that she is free and you are not, when this is not all your fault. Think about times you've seen mothers defend their children to the point of insane denial. Usually what you hear is, my son didn't do this. I know my son. He could never do it. He's the best man in the world. This is all lies. The police are out to get him. You hear all kinds of justifications. But what you mostly hear is, he didn't do this at all, period. Deb Sterns says, this is not all your fault. Not, this is not your fault. That little word all makes a huge difference. So it's not all your fault. It's partly her fault, which also means it's partly his. And she also says, I'm disgusted She is free and you are not. Not, she is free when you should be free and home with us. She is free when you are not. In other words, it would be better or more fair if she were in jail with you. She appears more upset that the mother is not in jail along with Stephan Sterns than she is that Stephan Sterns is in jail at all. She doesn't seem to have a problem understanding why he's there. And again, the mother manipulation. When you do that, you're hurting us too. Don't take the fall. It hurts me. Right now, Stephan needs to be watching out for himself and not worrying quite so much about what mom is thinking. Please get out of your head over this and start talking with your attorneys. This stuff is serious and you need to approach it as life and death, which it is. I think of the craziness Madeline lived through with Jen's various partners. Not a stable life at all for a child. I do pray for Madeline and for you daily. Even though the name's redacted in the last line, I put in Madeline's name because I doubt that Deb Sterns is praying for Jen. Start talking with your attorneys, and hopefully they'll read this too. This stuff is serious, and you need to approach it as life and death, which it is. Deb Sterns has a wonderful way of pointing out the obvious. Does she really think her son is not intelligent enough to figure out that he is in major trouble and that this is a capital case and he may be executed? The implication is he doesn't. So again, to the other people reading this, I'm trying to get him to talk to you and take it seriously. I know how serious it is. Just be patient with him. He'll figure it out. The craziness of the childhood that Madeline had with various partners. In other words, there were more people involved in this whole situation than just my son. It was a mother who set up this unhealthy, unsafe home for her child. And there were all kinds of men in and out. You can't just pick on my son. You were just one of them. It was the mom making everything unstable in that home, not you. Not a good life for a child. And she does pray for them. Isn't that nice? Or as they would say in the South, bless your heart. Then she returns to the bottom piece of bread, where she goes back to sugary sweet. Hope you get your coffee and candy, dear. This email, all throughout, has the feeling of not only a helicopter mother, but a helicopter mother about to land on her son's head. She's trying to control his legal strategy, the actions he takes, his emotional connection to her, and possibly even what people think of him outside the jail in the larger media. But that phrase where she basically says, I know you and Jen did it together, that's pretty harsh. Maybe she intended to help control what was going on with her son by sending this email, but it was a bad move. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the relationship between Deb Sterns and her son Stephan, and anything else you'd like to share about the Madeline Soto case, as tragic as it is. I'd like to thank you for spending time with me tonight. I appreciate it very much, and I would be honored if I could have your subscription. Please hit the like button if you've enjoyed this video so it gets out to others. And until we meet again, please use your words wisely and well. Take care.